What's up, YouTube? Northeast Ohio, back for another NBA video, the thing that you all love. I know we did the Marvel one and we did some other nonsense lately, but we're back into the wonderful world of the NBA, and we got some stuff to talk about. Like, comments up down below, all the YouTube nonsense, and market movers today. We're going to be living in it the entire time. So that's it. Let's get into it. What I want to talk about today is the obvious shift that's been going on the last month or so from modern to vintage slash goats slash legends slash whatever. I did that video on LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan. But there's other trends going on in that general market, obviously, and anyone that follows this stuff regularly can tell you that a lot of the big modern players are down, and some of them down quite a bit, depending on the player that you're talking about. So let me broadly, and I kind of touched on some of these topics in the LeBron, Jordan, Kobe video, talk about kind of what happened here. And I think there's a couple different things leading to the GOAT slash legends, we'll just say vintage, going up, and the modern guys going down. Let's talk about the older stuff first. I think a lot of this was initially spurred on by Jordan. PSA 10 86s. So right before the NBA season started, people started talking about how these are getting bought up and the supply on the market is getting less and less every day. Because the people buying these, you're not buying an 86 Jordan to quick flip it, most likely. You're buying it to hold on to it long term, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And you have a lot of big money players coming into the game, individuals and corporations. We see it every day. If you're on sports card Twitter or even just general sports Twitter, the stuff bubbles up to that level where you have these micro share companies where you buy a cut of an 86 Jordan for $10 or whatever, and there's 100,000 people in it or whatever the hell it costs, or however many people are in it. And it goes up and you could sell it. There's been some buyout offers lately on Jordans and some other stuff, depending on which app you're on. So you have these massive companies coming in, and they need these high level cards to offer on their platform to attract users. People aren't going to buy micro shares of a Luka PSA 10 base Prism when there's A, a ton of them out there, and B, they're just not that expensive. So they want the absolute upper elite. So this started driving a lot of stuff towards the 86 Jordan. And of course, the PSA 10 goes up, everything else follows it. You had Gary Vee talking up how, kind of making this same point, of these all-time great players with these low pop count cards are disappearing. They're coming off the market. And as the inventory dwindles, the prices are going to rise. And we saw that. So Jordan tipped things off. And then the NBA season started, and then LeBron stuff just went ballistic. Same thing, some Gary Vee tweets, microshare companies, the whole 9 yards. There's hedge funds being put together that are built solely out of collectibles, and they want these big time cards. They don't want a Darius Garland PSA 10 base. They want LeBron Topps Chrome PSA 9s or 10s or refractors or whatever, or Kobe rookies. So LeBron stuff starts going crazy, and his PSA 10 Topps Chrome jumped basically every week a few $1,000s, and that trickled down to his 9s, his 8s, then his upper deck or his base tops with the white jersey, and it filtered out to all his other stuff. And now everything LeBron is up, as we're going to see here in a minute. So you have all this going on, and now it starts trickling down further. It goes from Jordan to LeBron to Kobe, and now it's going down even further to, AI, Garnett, Bird, Johnson. And then if you go back into the super vintage, those guys' prices are going crazy as well. At the same time, the modern market has pulled back a little bit. We'll flip over to the chart. I mean, we're on the chart screen, but let's draw some attention to the charts. Let me zoom in here. Hold on. Calm down, everybody in the comments. We're zooming in. Calm down. Okay. So what I have up here is, and we've seen this a lot on the channel, I use the price movements by card chart. There's a way you could take a more macro look and do price movement by player. So what I have done is pulled up price movement by player, and it groups all their cards and market movers into one lump sum. I have restricted it to PSA 10 to get out a lot of the raw card noise and to kind of narrow things down a little bit. And this is like, especially for LeBron, this is going all the way from his, 03 Topps Chrome all the way up to 2019 or Lakers Prism PSA 10 jersey thing. It's anything that's a LeBron jersey that's a PSA 10 that's in market movers is lumped into this chart. So it gives you a very macro approach. And I have it sorted by number of sales. So up at the top, and I went back 30 days. I specifically went back 30 days because 30 days puts us right at the start of the NBA season. This is right like the start of the second week of the NBA season, the first full week of the NBA season, because the season started on a Monday or a Tuesday. So we're going back to right after the season started. So what has happened the last month in the NBA market? And right off the top, you can see Zion, most number of sales at 1,800. 1,800 PSA 10 Zions, and that's, once again, factoring in a bunch of different stuff. I can click this little drop down, and it will show me individuals. But 1,800 PSA 10 Zions have sold. As a whole, Zion PSA 10s are down 30%. That's a pretty decent chunk of change, down 30%. That's not nothing. That's a lot. And as we scroll down this list, as we keep going, number 2 is Luka, who is down 10%. Number 3 is LeBron, who is up 64%. So all LeBron PSA 10s as a whole are up 64%. Ja down 10, Trey down 20, Kobe White down 20, Kobe Bryant up 70%, RJ Barrett down 10, Michael Jordan up 70%. Even here's Tatum down 5, Giannis down 8%. Michael Porter Jr. slightly up. So what have we noticed so far as I've worked my way down this chart? I'm not mentioning every single player, but other than Michael Porter Jr. up 3%, all the other guys going up are the 3 that we talked about before: Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron. And then we have one rogue MPJ. Let's keep going and see what happens. We're mostly going to look at the guys going up quite a bit because everyone else is basically going down. Shaq up 88%. Okay. Also, obviously retired from the 90s generation. Sexton up 6%. Not surprising. His stuff was super cheap to start the season, and he came out like gangbusters. Hashtag Team Sexland. KD up 22%. Not surprising. One of probably the next generation's, all-time great players, and got Gary V hype, the Nets buzzy, the whole 9 yards. Easy to see what's going on there. And then once again, a bunch more modern guys down 10 to 30%. DeAndre Hunter way up. Jaylen Brown way up. Once again, not surprising given where their price points were to start the season and how well they've played. Steph Curry, one of the heading towards GOAT territory, 30% up. Kevin Porter Jr. up 2%. He just got traded, so he got a little spike. This one, and I mentioned this before in a weekly recap, Jaren Jackson Jr. up 20%. This is the perfect example of the power of just not playing. So he has been out with an injury. So his entire market is built on spec and hype because he is not on the court, and he hasn't been. And we don't know when he's going to hit the court, especially because the Grizzlies have basically been off for a week because of COVID concerns. He's up 20% being injured. If I had a bunch of JJJ, I would consider selling some before he comes back. Because what's going to happen? They're going to ease him back in. He's probably not going to put up big numbers. And based off of everything we've seen with this NBA market, unless the guy is super undervalued at the start of the season and plays great, they're going to go down. And he's been trending up, up, and up every single week. Once guys start playing, things go wrong. Things happen. They don't play well. They don't meet expectations, and the market expectations are high and their prices come down. I believe that is part of what we're seeing with the NBA pullback. These guys not living up to the lofty expectations that the market set forth for them when the season started. People expected Luka to be the frontrunner MVP candidate and the Mavs to be 14-0 or whatever. And that just hasn't been the case. They got a slow start. Luka looked like the Pillsbury Doughboy, and Porzingis was hurt. Now they're starting to put things together recently, and Luka just had a monster game the other night. He had like 80 FanDuel points or something crazy with some ridiculous line. Let's keep going down the list here. Devontae Graham, Lonzo Ball, and I'm just going to scroll look for the big ones. Joel Embiid, up quite a bit. Once again, not surprising. His stuff was really cheap to begin the season, and he's one of the front runners for MVP. Bam having a very nice season, also undervalued before the season started. But even like guys like Brandon Ingram's been playing great, down 15%. The legendary Bull. Here's another big one, up 56%. Tim Duncan. Another one, up 24%. AI. And a whole bunch of red as we continue down this list. Let's go to the next page. The Joker up 40%, not surprising. MVP candidate, was cheap to start the season. Wade, 40%. Keldon Johnson, not surprising. David Robinson, notice the trend here. Harden up. Nickeil Alexander-Walker up 106%. Vince Carter up 13%. Brogdon finally getting some love. Melo up 60%. Kendrick Nunn just got trendy the last week or so. Klay Thompson up 26%. Guy tore his ACL and his Achilles. He's up 30%. Once again, the power of not actually playing. Let's keep scrolling down here. We keep seeing Kevin Garnett up 65%. Ray Allen, 45%. Tracy McGrady, 108%. Gary Payton, 26%. Tim Hardaway, Dirk, Andre Drummond, of all players, up 100%. Kemba Walker getting a little bump. But what do we notice here? Most of the players going up are not active NBA players. OG up 40% to round out this list here at the very end. So as I mentioned before, the modern guys not living up to the hype a little bit. And in the meantime, the all-time greats are going up. I think what is also fueling this modern sell-off is people are selling their modern to buy the older stuff. A lot of people like to use card money for cards and not inject outside money into their network of investments. So they're selling Luka, Zion, Trey, Kobe White, SGA, Michael Porter Jr., whatever, to go out and buy LeBron, KG, AI, et cetera, et cetera. So it's causing the sell-off on the modern to go buy the vintage. And also, players not necessarily living up to the hype, lots of canceled games, pandemic concerns, just a very jagged start to this season. It just has not been very smooth. You go weeks on end without having guys play. I haven't seen Ja Morant play in over a week, and that was after he was out for 2 weeks or 3 weeks due to the ankle sprain. So the real question is, so the market zigged when we were zagging. You know, we were buying modern, and then the guys go in the opposite direction or go, give me all this old stuff that nobody cares about. And then now the prices of that have spiked and the prices of modern have come down. So should we be zagging again or zigging? Whatever. I mixed it up, but you get the point. Should we be now thinking about going the opposite direction? How long can this buy up of the all-time greats last while the modern keeps going down? At some point, this stuff is going to hit a floor and start going back up the other direction, especially as we move closer towards the NBA playoffs. Things start to pick up a little bit in the run up to the NBA playoffs, kind of peak again right at the very beginning of the NBA playoffs, and then start to dip back down again. The other thing that's happening, and I don't know how much of this is the case, but people probably are beginning to move money into baseball as well. We've seen the baseball market starting to heat up. Now, the baseball market is smaller than the basketball market right now, just in general. NBA is king. And there are a lot of people that are NBA only or NBA and football and don't play in the baseball game. Talked about it plenty of times before. A lot of people don't like the way baseball does their whole true rookie thing. They don't like buying Bowman first 4 years ago and sitting on them and hoping that some 19-year-old kid that's not going to be in the majors for 5 years turns into something. Baseball's a weird thing where the draft and the rookie class gets hype and then gets forgotten about to a degree because they go spend anywhere from 1 to 4 years in the minors, or sometimes longer in some cases, before they come up. So maybe there's a little bit of money shifting to baseball as well. The point of this whole video is yes, vintage is going up. Legends, all-time greats are going up. Current players, I don't want to say they're crashing, but they are definitely coming down. There's a big pullback on today's players. So like I said, when do we dive back in? Now, I've never left. I've been buying Ja the whole time. I picked up the purple. That was right when he got hurt, when things were still at their peak. But I recently bought that Pulsar, and I've had my eyes out for other Morant stuff because Morant, of the super young guys, besides Luka, is the one I believe in the most. So I will happily pick up more stuff of his on the dip, especially, like I've talked about before, optic, color, etc. If things come down enough, I will look at Luka potentially. I don't know that it makes sense to buy into these all-time, to go buy LeBron right now at basically an all-time peak. And maybe I'm the idiot here and you should be buying now because it's just going to keep going higher. But typically the market just does not work that way. Things go up for a while. There's a slight pullback. A new floor is established, and then it cruises at that for a while. And then the next thing happens. Now, with guys like this, LeBron, Jordan, Kobe, Duncan, Dirk, KG, there's not going to be huge fall-offs down because they're not playing anymore in most cases. They're not going to go out there and tear an ACL. They're not going to go out there and look bad. They're not going to go out there and choke in the playoffs. And LeBron, I don't know what he would have to do for his prices to completely crash. But he has just so much history built in. He could tear his Achilles tomorrow and be fine. His prices would take a little bit of a hit, but they would go right back up again as soon as the dip happened. But if you're a believer in Zion, his stuff's down 30%. When are you buying in? If you truly believe in Zion Williamson, you should be sitting here salivating like, all right, keep on going down. But at some point in time, you're going to have to jump in again. Same with Luka. Luka's only down 10%, but 10% on Luka is a decent chunk of change. Trae Young, down 20%. Are you a believer in Trae? Okay. When are you hopping back in? And maybe, like I said, now is the time to zig while the market's zagging. Everyone's running to the old school stuff, Googling up, digging through their boxes, trying to find old stuff to send in the grading. And people have forgotten about Luka, Tatum. They haven't forgotten about Jaylen Brown, but you get my point. Or is this the new normal? Are we going to head this direction for a while longer still, and modern keeps falling and the old stuff keeps going up? If I look at these charts 30 days from now, when we get towards the end of February, and I look at these again, is it going to be the same? All the old school guys going up and all the modern guys down another 10 to 30%. I don't know. I don't think so, but I could be wrong. We're heading into February now. We're not anywhere close to the NBA playoffs. We're right smack in the middle of the NBA season. Maybe it keeps trending down or stays flat. Normally we would have the NBA trade deadline in February to kind of, shock the system, but that's not until March now this year. So you're not going to have that rumor mill off season, not even off season, but like in season hot stove, whatever, to spike the market up from trades and stuff. And like I said, we're a ways away from the playoffs starting. So maybe modern keeps sliding. I don't know, but I'm intrigued to go potentially buy some deals if I can find them. I mean, I'm not big on Zion, so I'm not going to go out and buy Zion. But if you are, this is the cheapest his PSA 10 Prism has been in a long time. A long time. Jaws held pretty good, but like I said, Trae Young's down quite a bit. We scroll back down through this list and see, so who's down the most of guys that we would care about? Marvin Bagley's down 40%. I'm not a big believer, but some people are. I mean, you're buying in at one of the all-time lows. Zion's actually pretty high on that list. Kobe White, a lot of people like Kobe White. Jamal Murray, 20%, 8 and 20%. Kyrie Irving, 20%. If the Nets make a big run into the playoffs and he's in the finals again, what do his card prices look like in 3 months? Now, Kyrie has obviously a pile of off-court concerns, but, who knows? He's down 20%. Do I expect him to be down 20% by the time the playoffs rolls around? I don't think so. Not if he's playing well and he's not hurt and he's not walking the earth or something. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. I mean, what do you guys think? Are you buying these dips, or are you going, nope, I'm buying the hype into the legends and the all-time greats? Or are you just not buying anything at all? Are you going, you know what? I'm going to let the modern keep falling. I think it's got some room to fall, and then I'll dive in. And the all-time great stuff has passed me by. I missed the window. They're up 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% in some cases. I'm not buying in at the all-time high potentially, and I'm just going to sit this one out. I just missed it. Or are you going to go look for the next guy? Okay, Dirk and stuff is going up now. Tim Duncan's going up now. AI is going up. Are you going to go find the next guy that hasn't gone up yet big time? T-Mac's way up. Vince Carter's up. You're going to go back further into the 80s. A lot of those guys are up too. The Bird, Magic Johnson, and the name's escaping me for the third guy on the card right now. That 3-player card, the 1981, is up a massive percent. That card is huge right now in regards to how much it's up. So a lot of the stuff from the 80s is way up too. So that's kind of where the market's at right now in regards to the NBA. So let me know what you guys are thinking down below. Just how you're approaching this. Like I said before, are you taking a timeout? Are you chasing? Are you buying? What are you doing? And what do you think happens when we look at these charts in 30 days? What are we looking at? Is modern still down a bunch and the all-time greats up a bunch, or is it flattened out? So that's all I have for you guys today. YouTube stuff down below. You guys know the drill by now. And we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.